Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to our all family meeting on this Saturday, every third Saturday of each month. We're bringing you some great family information that will stimulate and motivate, heal, and to restore better family relationship. And so today, my name is Craig. Before I get into the article, I am a certified recovery specialist here at Capital Recovery Center, and it's always a pleasure to bring you some great content. So today we're going to be talking about, we're going to be sharing with you, that is, let me get it going. There we go. Family involvement and addiction recovery treatment for the entire family. And this article that I'm going to be sharing with you come from GuardianRecoveryNetwork.com. So we always want to acknowledge where we get these articles from because they have some great information. If you want to learn more about family dynamics and as it applies to those who have loved ones or those who are struggling with family issues when it comes to substance use disorder, please go online and grab some good information. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the article says, addiction recovery is typical, not an easy or straightforward process. When a person makes the decision to tackle an addiction and seek professional treatment, they are performing an immensely brave and commendable act. They are committed to a complete and total lifestyle change. So when somebody takes the initiative, they are doing a good service, a great deed. They are not doing a disservice to themselves or their family. They are someone who needs to be commendable. All right. And it says they are committed to a complete and total lifestyle change, abandoning everything they know about life and how to live it, and essentially starting from scratch. For many people who struggle with addiction, getting sober is the most difficult thing they will ever have to do because getting sober is such a feat. It helps to have a great deal of support and encouragement during every stage of the process. So the article says it's a great deal to have support and encouragement through the healing process. All right. So addiction is often referred to as a family disorder, meaning every member of the family is affected in one way or another. All right. And so the article goes on to say, we believe the success of each individual client depends heavily on the amount of support they receive from their loved ones and on the return to a healthy state of family functioning. Addiction devastates the family unit, upturning traditional roles and leaving each individual member in a state of mental and emotional disarray. All right? And so, without further ado, we want to dive right in and see exactly some of the topics that this article wants us to learn about. And so here's one. It says, how does addiction impact the family as a whole? All right. So it says, how does addiction affect the family as a whole? And so we want to basically find out what the article entails. It says, addiction impacts the family in a variety of ways. Family members will also react differently to living with someone who is battling active addiction. For example, the mother of an alcoholic might become overprotective and overbearing. She might not let her child leave her sight. She might attempt to sweep up their mess in hopes of protecting them from the consequences of their own actions. The spouse of a person battling prescription drug addiction might turn a blind eye, pretending as if nothing is wrong and carrying on with business as usual. So the article dealt with two form of addiction, or two substances of addiction, and that is one dealt with the alcoholic parent, then the spouse issue dealt with someone who was dealing with prescription med where it came out of control. And so basically what I'm hearing, and I believe they're saying that the family can become codependent, or they can be enabling in ways of fear of being embarrassed or anyone knowing about what's going on with the family unit. If your loved ones has developed a substance use disorder, you have probably found your own way to cope. Whether you have been ignoring the problem entirely or living in a constant state of stress and worry, your life has been gravely affected and you undeniably require some intensive healing of your own. All right. And so it's not a individual disease, addiction. It says that the article said earlier, this is a family disorder, or it has been defined as a family disorder. The predominant ways in which the family as a whole is affected and include, there are three bullets that I'm going to read and share with you. And the first one talks about shifting family dynamics. This is very good here. This is very good because oftentimes family have to take on different roles for different reasons. So I'm not going to go on my perspective. I'm going to see what the article says. It says, each member of a family serves an important role. Traditionally, the mother is the nurturer, the father is the supporter, and each child develops and serves a role in their own. Active addiction completely upturned these roles, leaving the family in a state of dysfunction. As the addiction continues to worsen, family dynamics shift to a greater and greater extent. And so if you have a parent that's maybe on drugs and there's a child in the household, and sometimes the child don't get the time, don't, when I say don't get the time, I mean sometimes the children or the child may feel that they have to take on some of the responsibility, whereas normally the parent will be doing, whether it be cleaning up the house. You know, normally when a child come home from school, do their homework, they would like some leisure time. You know, if they have done all their studies, to go and socialize with their classmate or some children in the neighborhood. However, being that the parent may be on drugs or addicted to drugs, now they have to neglect some of their social lifestyle to oversee or look after their parents. So family dynamics will shift, you know, and so that's what I believe the article is saying. The next bullet point talks about mental and emotional distress. Watching someone you love struggling with addiction is mentally and emotionally devastating. You likely cycle through a range of extreme emotions on a regular basis. Maybe your loved ones agree to seek help and you feel excited and optimistic. This time feels different. This time, you know they'll stick by their word and commit to change. Within a matter of hours, they are drunk or high yet again. And you feel frustrated, angry, and disillusioned. Over time, you become emotionally worn down and you start to neglect your own personal needs. All right? And so we first talked about shifting family dynamics, mental and emotional distress. And so now we want to talk about addiction and enabling behaviors. It can be difficult to refuse help to someone you love. Unfortunately, when a person is in the throes of addiction, they will continue to take advantage of those around them until professional treatment is sought. Without realizing you are doing so, you might be inadvertently enabling your loved ones and as exacerbating the symptoms of their addiction. In many cases, enabling becomes a deeply ingrained aspect of family functioning and must be addressed in a therapeutic setting. And so, if you know anyone who's going through, any family members or any family unit that's going through these three bullet points that I read, uh, where they have a dysfunction within the family dynamics, or there's a emotional or mental distress on the family, or you believe that enabling is taking place, please contact us here at Capital Recovery Center, or seek, the article says, seek some therapeutic help. We are recovery coaches. We are not therapists, and so we can help you find some help. If that's what you need, feel free to reach out to us. All right. And so, as you can see, as it's scrolling across the screen, we are talking about on today the family involvement and addiction recovery treatment for the entire family. All right. And so, the next aspect we want to talk about, and that is the role of the family in addiction recovery. All right, and so it says an article published by the U.S. National Library of Medicine states the family remains the primary source of attachment, nurturing, and socialization for humans in our current society. Therefore, the impact of substance use disorder, which is known as SUDS, or abbreviated as SUDS, on the family and individual family members merits attention. Each family and each family member is uniquely affected by the individual using substances, including but not limited to having unmet developmental needs, impairment attachment, economic hardship, legal problems, emotional distress, and sometimes violence being perpetuated against him or her. For children, there is also an increased risk of developing and substance use disorder themselves. Thus, treating only the individual with the active disease of addiction is limited in effectiveness. In order for treatment to be as effective as possible, all family members must be involved in some capacity. And so, as the article mentioned, all these factors or high risk factors that may take place in the role of the family, everyone must be involved in the healing process, or else there's going to be a dynamic shift in roles, or there's going to be some emotional and mental distress, or there may be someone who's enabling, or when they say enabling, they're talking about exacerbating the system, exacerbating or making the matter or the situation worse. All right. As a loved one of someone undergoing recovery, you are integral. You are integral to the success of the overall treatment journey, as well as the maintenance of long-term sobriety. Though entering a treatment program is an important first step to achieving long-term recovery, it is the only step. Achieving freedom from the burdens of substance dependency is a long-time journey. It says this is a long-time journey. It's not no quick fix deal, microwave, put it in the microwave for 30 minutes, or go to treatment for 30 days and everything is magically fixed. No, this is a long-time journey that requires love, support, and understanding. There are several ways you can support a loved one throughout the addiction recovery process, including the following. And so they have on the next bullet, it talks about offering ongoing support and encouragement. All right. And so today we are talking about here family involvement and addiction recovery treatment for the entire family. And so let's talk about offering ongoing support and encouragement. If you are a family member, friend, or spouse, your supporting role can be crucial to helping your loved ones focus on regaining their full physical and mental health, especially in the early stages of recovery. Family support will require a commitment on your part. It is important for you to accept that you and your loved one may face hardships because of their addiction. Even though they have committed to living a life of recovery, it is a good idea to openly discuss the possibility of these hardships and develop a plan for productively dealing with challenges such as a return to substance use. That may be a big issue because a lot of times the trust factor uh, has been destroyed, right? And so therefore, uh, that may be a major concern for the family. And so we have to be mindful if we're offering support, we have to be there not for the short term, but for the long term. Then we might want to discuss dealing with residential, legal, and financial issues, mood swings, and other symptoms of post-acute withdrawal. And so a lot of times, if you know about addiction and recovery, a lot of times when you see someone that's on drugs, their mood has been altered. And so a lot of times you may see um, them being jubilant or elated about things, or that's the way when they're on the substance, that's the way of coping with things. And so it may appear that they're happy, that they are enjoying life. But on the flip side, when they're not on the drugs and the recovery process start, there may be some mood swings where they might don't be as exuberant or excited. You know, they may have days when they might just be struggling to learn how to cope and learn how to apply new coping mechanisms. So bear with anyone that's going through stages of recovery as a unit, as a family, uh, all together. Struggling to find and maintain employment. So barriers come up. Now, if you have someone who haven't been working, they don't have a resume, they don't have any credit score, things like that. They may not have their ID. So these open discussions that one would need to have and start working on it together collectively and just instilling. One thing is very important to instill hope by encouraging someone, let them know that yes, you may not have all these things right now, but on the journey to recovery, you will be able to maintain and obtain those uh, entities or things that I made mention of: IDs, job, resume, all that stuff will eventually come. Acting out on their own ways. So always be there for them. Let them know that they are not alone. Committing to recovery is, of course, a major leap in the right direction, but undergoing addiction treatment does not necessarily ensure a smooth ride. You will hit the occasional speed bump. And when you do it, it is important that you have a set of tools, skills, and healthy coping mechanism to implement. Undergoing family therapy will teach you the tools you need to maintain a calm and collected attitude when things crop up. You will learn how to deal with related frustration in a healthy and productive way and continue offering support and encouragement despite the current circumstances. And so, as a family unit, don't panic when things go awry and things are not looking as planned. You know, by you going to a therapeutic process yourself to learn more about recovery, the healing, and the sobriety, things gonna happen. However, breathe. You know, and breathing exercise is always helpful for a lot of people. I know it's helpful for me because a lot of times when we don't take the time and pause, breathe, reflect, and then use the coping skills that you will receive in a therapeutic environment, then you'll be able to figure things out, not individually, also collectively. Let's talk about the next aspect that the article is talking about: holding your loved ones accountable. This is a major one right here. Holding your loved ones accountable. It is important to hold your loved ones accountable should they stumble or fall. Rather than brush it off and say, yes, it's okay, dear, nobody is perfect, consider suggesting a return to a lower level of care or increase individual therapy appointments. One of the kindest things you can do for your loved one is set boundaries and maintain these boundaries when push comes to shove. An example of a boundary you might set is: if I find you using drugs in my house again, you will have to find somewhere else to stay. While throwing your loved ones out with no place to go might seem heartless and cruel, the truth is that you will be doing them a major favor in the long run. When it comes to maintaining recovery, tough love is usually the best route to take. If your loved ones experiences no consequences as a result of their actions, they will have no motivation to change. And so I always like to think of consequences in two aspects, and that is you get rewarded for doing well and for doing not well. Or there is also consequences for that. And so, and whatever that may be, you and your family will have to come together and decide on which best method or approach to take when it comes to implementing consequences. All right. And so let's talk about another aspect the article is making mention of: providing a safe, to heal. Now let's just say, let me fix that, because that should say providing a safe space. Let's say that. Let's put it up there again. Boom. Providing a safe space to heal. Once your loved one completes the medical detox and residential inpatient treatment, they will either return home or move directly into a sober living house. This is the process. Most time people go through detox, residential treatment. If they don't have adequate accommodation as it applies to housing, they normally will seek sober living housing. And sober living housing is a place where they may reside for a period of time around other people that's in recovery, and those people will support each other, whether it be through communication or going to certain meetings together, and to empower one another. All right. So if they do return home, it is important that they feel supported, safe, and heard as they navigate early sobriety. It is important for you to provide a safe space in which to heal. While this does indicate an environment with no immediate access to drugs or alcohol and no active substance use, it also means an environment free from anger and conflict. Early recovery is an especially vulnerable time, and it's crucial a person feels safe and comfortable in their living environment. So there's a lot of issues, there's a lot of factors that one face when they are in their early sobriety or even in long-term sobriety. This is part of life where someone needs to feel safe. And so if a person had previously anger issues and they haven't met or managed their anger, for them to be in an environment where there's hostility is only going to bring on past experience. And if they don't have coping skills, they're going to lash out. And so if they don't have conflict resolutions when it comes to conflict or confrontation. Whenever a confrontation arises, how to evaluate a given situation uh, correctly, productively, then there are most times they may go back to the old behaviors in which they know how to resolve matters. And so that is something that we don't want to do. We want to keep someone in a safe place to heal, right? In some cases, providing a safe environment at home is simply not an option. This might be the reality if another member of the household is battling active addiction, or if one or several members of the household do not support or understand recovery. If this is the case, moving into a sober living house for a prolonged period of time is always recommended. All right. And so if the house is not safe, the home is not safe, the environment is not safe, we suggest that the article suggests we at here Capital Recovery Center, we support sober living housing by assisting those who go through detox residential treatment and who is looking to turn their lifestyle around. We are here to assist with that as well. And so let's look at another aspect the article talks about. Healing individually and taking your own needs into account. As the saying goes, one cannot pour from an empty cup. That is so true. That is so true. If you are mentally and emotionally depleted, it will be extremely difficult to show up for your loved ones. It is important that you prioritize your own needs and seek help for yourself whenever necessary. If you have been living under the same roof as someone who has been struggling with active addiction, you might likely pour a great deal of your emotional energy into trying to keep things somewhat stable, right? And so the article says you cannot pour from an empty cup, right? And it says if you're emotionally depleted, mentally, emotionally depleted, you ain't gonna be able to be at your best. Let me just keep it simple. You know, you're not gonna be at your best because a lot of times our compassion, and especially when we are trying to help someone else who's struggling like we are, and our compassion may be so overwhelming that we may be pouring out so much of ourselves where if we become depleted, and that is, or someone could be draining our energy, the little that we may have built up for their own self gratification. And so there must be a balance, right? There must be a balance. All right, and so it says, if you have been living, right, let's read that again. If you have been living under the same roof as someone who has been struggling with active addiction, you have likely poured a great deal of your emotional energy into trying to keep things somewhat stable. Maybe you constantly clean up after your addicted loved one, both literally and figuratively, right? Or you frantically attempt to keep up appearances as far as the rest of the world is concerned. Remember to heal yourself. Take time to seek the help you need to restore your mental and emotional health. Doing so might seem selfish at first. How can you take the time to go to therapy when your loved one requires constant attention? That's a question, the article says. How can you take time to go to therapy when your loved one requires constant attention? Rest assured that tending to your own needs will better equip you for the role ahead. And so it's the article is making mention, or it is letting us know that uh, the first law of all nature is self-preservation, right? And if we don't take care of ourselves, how can we take care of others? All right. So work on healing you as well as work on healing your loved ones as well. So if you can do it together, that'll be a beautiful picture, a beautiful story and a beautiful outcome. All right. And so, last and not least, we're going to talk about the last aspect the article make mention of, and that is working through family dysfunction. There's really no way around it. Once addiction develops, healthy family functioning will inevitably be compromised. The household likely seems messy and chaotic. Everyone is on edge, and tension seems to constantly run high. This is normal. The good news is, with some intensive therapeutic intervention and with the participation of each individual member of the household, family dysfunction can be successfully worked through. Reach out to a licensed professional for help and guidance. And so it's always a pleasure to come every third Saturday of the month and talk about our family meetings and share some great information. And so today we are talking about family involvement in addiction recovery treatment for the entire family. And as we all know, the holidays is coming up upon us, and it's coming upon us real fast. And there's going to be some issues that's going to rise, whether it be those who are being affected by alcohol or drug addiction. There may be some other underlying issues that may occur and that we may not notice, but we want you all to be safe and be vigilant in everything that you do in the upcoming days, because we live in a time where, as living a healthy and healing lifestyle is very important to us. And so we want to share that hope, experience, and encouragement unto you as well, to you and your family. We want to say happy holidays, whatever holidays that you may share. And remember, you know, do the best you can to stay rooted and grounded in what you believe as your spiritual happiness. And whatever that looks like to you, may God bless your family every day. So long. This is Craig. Have a blessed holiday.